Santino, Tarquinio, and Jiseok Lee. Alright, so from Jiseok, we're gonna see the Dragapult in the Primarina, and you know what? Santino might be trying to put on the gas here with the Urshifu and that Colossal.
Oh, wow. I mean, that is a really impressive call-out. I think Urshifu a little bit risky if the Clefairy comes out, but Jiseok does not lead that Clefairy, so Santino, while often playing a little bit more passively with Colossal, can actually just push the go button immediately this time around. One thing that's actually really important is what Pokemon ends up maxing from Jiseok's end. Of course, you're seeing Santino prioritize damage onto the Primarina. He's got that Rillaboom in the back, which can deal with it further later on. Dragapult's not exactly a very great option if it doesn't Dynamax. So we're going to see the Dynamax come out from Jiseok's end first. It is going to be that Primarina, so, you know, able to just go for a huge Max Geyser potentially into the Colossal immediately on turn 1. But Colossal will be able to get the Steam Engine going and will be able to get that G-Max Volcalith off. And of course, that's a lot of residual damage every turn.
Yeah, we got a chance to see in the Winners Finals how that residual damage really played to Santino's strengths. That G-Max Volcalith obviously able to do chip damage at the end of every single turn, and that set amount of damage means that you're able to secure knockouts in places where you might not be able to secure the one-hit knockout. So Santino has definitely been able to read those calculations correctly, and with this Aqua Jet, you might be taking a lot of damage, but most importantly, you're activating this Colossal Steam Engine and you're getting this weakness policy boost. So Colossal is going to be on a bit of a train heading forward into this first of games in this Grand Finals. Here comes the G-Max Volcalith. It's going to go right into the Dragapult, and that's going to be a knockout.
Yeah, and once again, I think Santino recognizes that with Rillaboom in the back, you actually don't need to prioritize KOing the Primarina immediately. Primarina is going to get this Max Geyser off, so that is just going to be able to pick up the knockout onto Colossal. But you got the residual effect now, right? That's going to do a lot of damage to all of Jiseok's other Pokemon, and this is such a deviation from how Santino's played with this team thus far. So I really like that he's actually changed his playstyle completely, just going for the G-Max Volcalith setup immediately on turn 1. Of course, now he is down a Dynamax Pokemon. Primarina will get 2 extra turns of Max left, but there's that Rillaboom in the back, right? Like, the Rillaboom can just come out. It's got that Choice Band, puts on so much offensive pressure. So Santino is kind of setting himself up for a late game with the Rillaboom, where by bringing out Togekiss right now, you don't have to worry about Incineroar having Intimidate or Fake Out. So I think the Togekiss switch-in is an excellent decision on his end here. And this next turn, you can maybe go for something like just a Protect with both Pokemon. Then the subsequent turn, the Urshifu can just go for a Surging Strikes into the Incineroar slot. So it's not often that you see a player kind of just go for a Dynamax and be willing to, trade and get a knockout immediately. Santino actually opting here just straight for a Follow Me, doesn't want to go for the double Protect option. Of course, Surging Strikes will be able to get all these critical hits off against the Incineroar, and with the Rain Up, I think it's just going to be a knockout as well. So Santino really wants to knock out this Incineroar so that it can no longer intimidate the Rillaboom, and then the Rillaboom should be able to clean out this game against Primarina in the late game.
Yeah, I really like what you mentioned, the Rillaboom getting preserved in the face of the Intimidate coming out from the Incineroar, as sure, Incineroar might be able to go for the Fake Out, but ooh, that is going to stop the Surging Strikes for at least one turn. Follow Me, though, going to draw the attention away from the Urshifu as Primarina goes for a Max Hailstorm. Jiseok read this like a book.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking it was a little bit risky to not just go for the double Protect option there. By protecting both, you block the Fake Out potential. Sure, the Hail does a little bit of damage into the Togekiss, and, you change the weather as well, so no longer have the rain. That being said, I think, once again, both of these Pokemon are going to be taking so much residual damage, right? You've got Hail up now, you've got the G-Max Volcalith ticking off as well, and Primarina has that Life Orb. So Santino now does get a free switch-in into the Rillaboom immediately. We know it's Choice Banded. It's got really, really powerful Grass-type attacks off. This Incineroar has not intimidated the Rillaboom either. So Santino has been playing so much more aggressively than I think we're kind of used to seeing him play, and I really, really love that kind of mix-up here, just changing his strategy completely. And now, the Rillaboom is out, able to just pressure with a knockout onto the Primarina, especially with all these really powerful Grass-type attacks. You can just launch a Wood Hammer into the Primarina if you want. You can go for Glide as well, obviously, and then the Urshifu can very safely go for super effective attack into the Incineroar. So here, I think Jiseok might want to consider switching out the Incineroar, protecting the Primarina, so then you reconserve this Intimidate. I'm really wondering what Jiseok's last Pokemon is, because it's got to be, I think, the Clefairy or the Urshifu. With Clefairy, you can at least redirect an attack away the subsequent turn, and I think that would be really, really critical, because if you knock out the Urshifu, then the Incineroar can handle the Rillaboom in the 1v1 matchup. But Santino is putting on a lot of offensive pressure here, and despite losing his Maximon on the first turn, still able to do so much damage. No switches!
No switches at all, so the Grassy Glad's going to secure the knockout onto Jiseok's Primarina. So not going to be able to get much more value out of its Dynamax turns, but the no switch out's huge. That means Urshifu's going to get a double knockout here with the Surging Strikes onto Incineroar.
Yeah, no switch, no protect, just willing to give up that Primarina, maybe reading into a potential, prediction there. And this is huge. I mean, let's see if this third Surging Strikes will actually be able to pick up the knockout onto Incineroar. I think he'll be able to hang on with just a little bit of HP, and it is able to hang on.
Damage, though.
Yeah, let's see. He's going to opt for a U-turn, so not going to go for something like a super effective Flare Blitz. Instead, it's going to be a U-turn that does a little bit less damage. And now the Pokemon that's coming in, of course, is going to take the residual damage from the G-Max Volcalith as well. So, yeah, Jiseok playing really, really aggressively there. Not going for Protect or a Switch Out. Yeah, ends up switching out naturally through the U-turn, but Urshifu is the last Pokemon, and Rillaboom in a very prime position right now to just get these glides off. I like Santino's decision to not go for the Wood Hammer. Wants to keep that priority with the Grassy Glide specifically so that he can outspeed the Urshifu in this late game.
Well, I was thinking if Incineroar didn't go for the U-turn there, then it was susceptible to the chip damage, just knocking it out from the Hail and the G-Max Volcalith. So really heads-up play from Jiseok to say, you know what, this Surging Strikes is probably coming through from Santino's Urshifu, and if I want to try to get a switch in here, then U-turn might be my best bet. But stands to reason now, Incineroar gets a chance to come back out onto the field, and it gets a chance to intimidate this Rillaboom.
Yeah, the Intimidate actually is normally pretty good, but because this is such a strong Rillaboom with Grassy Glide and the Choice Band, I think even after the Intimidate, it should be able to just pick up a knockout onto either of these two Pokemon, right? So, like, the main value of Incineroar coming out here is that you're able to get a Fake Out off, and I think you kind of feel like you're forced to Fake Out into the Rillaboom. And, Santino now, the big question is, can the Rillaboom survive a combination of like a Fake Out and a close combat from the opposing Urshifu? Obviously, Rillaboom can't protect; it's locked into Grassy Glide here, so I think you pretty much always want to target the. I would think Urshifu here with the Grassy Glide, but you could go for the Incineroar if you are expecting the Urshifu to maybe go for a protect. With Volcalith being off though, or one more turn of Volcalith left, the Incineroar is actually going to faint after the Rock's damage anyway. But you do have to be careful of the potential Flare Blitz into that slot. So you can see Santino kind of deciding who he wants to target. And then with Urshifu, I think launching a close combat into the opposing Urshifu is just super, super safe. Could go for a potential protect here, but you can't even protect against the opposing Urshifu attacking. So actually gonna opt for the Surging Strikes, which I think is a valid option as well, because you manage to crit through those Intimidates, and you don't get the defense drop.
Well, here's a crit. It's going to be for the Fake Out, though, so Rillaboom not going to be able to get a chance to move, but it is Surging Strikes now coming through from the Urshifu, and it's going to find its mark on the Jiseok's Urshifu. With those critical hits, the Intimidate doesn't matter nearly as much, but it's only doing about half damage to Jiseok's Urshifu.
Alright, here's close combat into the Rillaboom. Is it enough for a knockout? It is! However, there's still residual damage. One more turn of that G-Max Volcalith means Incineroar should faint. And now the Urshifu has that defense drop, so Santino opting not for close combat there because he knows he's intimidated anyway. He knows he's not going to knock out the opposing Urshifu, so rather just wants to get a little bit of chip damage off, and I think that's really, really clever because now you have the 1v1 against the opposing Urshifu. Urshifu already has a defense drop, so close combat should be able to just pick up a knockout onto that now, and yeah, even if you are slower than the opposing Urshifu this turn, with Incineroar fainting from the G-Max Volcalith, I think Jiseok's pretty much going to need a close combat critical hit to knock out Santino's Urshifu, and then Urshifu on the opposing enemy, if it just goes first, close combat will just be able to seal up the knockout. So a great decision actually to just go for the Surging Strikes, recognizing that it's not going to be able to pick up the knockout, and he goes first!
There comes the close combat, and that's going to be the final blow onto Jiseok's Urshifu, giving Santino a one-game advantage in this final set.
That was so aggressively played from Santino. It was a very, very big swing from how we've seen him play previously with this team. We were talking about in this game, redirection being important and supporting these water-type Pokemon, and in the end, Santino was literally willing to trade Colossal, which fainted on turn 1, for the rocks damage. And I think that's so important because he's willing to let the Primarina commit the Dynamax. If the Primarina commits the Dynamax, that means Rillaboom has a really, really late game good answer against it, right? And in the end here for Jiseok, he didn't end up, you know, protecting the Primarina or switching out the Incineroar immediately. It takes so much damage. In the end game there, I'm thinking Santino's Urshifu could have taken a close combat, but perhaps if it was a speed tie, it was maybe critical, depending on, you know, how both of the Pokemon are trained. Either way, though, Santino's Urshifu ends up going first, so don't even have to worry about you know, a potential high roll or critical hit, and just able to secure the knockout there immediately. So once again, really critical that he went for that Surging Strikes instead of a close combat.
Yeah, absolutely. Just so you don't have the defense drop to play against you if you do have to go through with that. But I think we're about ready to get started at this game too. Santino has a 1-game lead. Jiseok's hopes of this grand finals are on the line as we go to match point between Santino, Tarquinio, and Jiseok Lee. Jiseok is going to be bringing out Dragapult and Primarina once again, and Santino again with the Urshifu and the Colossal.
This is so different from, honestly, what I was expecting. I think, like, no redirection coming out immediately, and once again, Santino just changing his playstyle completely, playing super, super aggressive, and once again, I think that's a great mix-up. Now, this time around, you know, Jiseok knows what happened in the last game, and you can see Santino kind of debating between targeting Primarina and the Dragapult. Of course, last time around, it was just a free knockout onto the Dragapult. You trade knockouts, and then you get the Rillaboom in for free, and once again, pressure with the Primarina, and I think... yeah, if you're a Jiseok hero, what do you do, right? I mean, you could maybe max the Dragapult, but that is kind of risky. I actually think could pay off here specifically because Santino is opting to, looks like, target the Primarina, and if you max the Dragapult here, get a defense drop, and then, you know, you've got that Aqua Jet in the back with the Urshifu, but nope, it's going to be the Primarina max once again.
Yeah, this didn't play out super well in Jiseok's favor, given that Santino was able to take this game 1 with a late game Rillaboom in the back, but maybe things are going to play out just a little bit differently depending on what Jiseok decides to do with targeting and maneuvers in this first turn of game 2. We do see that Gigantamax Colossal coming back out into the field, and after what we got a chance to see it do, I have a lot of faith in this Colossal train right now, being able to secure yet another knockout, but gotta go through the motions first. Dragapult protecting this time around.
Oh, okay. So the protect there to essentially try to burn one turn of Dynamax and not give up the Colossal, or give up the Dragapult immediately, because, you know, just sticking around with Pokemon, it's really, really valuable. You don't take as much damage from the residual effect with the Pokemon in the back what you want for the late game. So Colossal, however, gonna go for that G-Max Volcalyph, and as we saw, targeting the Primarina this time, and that's actually so much damage, over 50%. So great call out, expecting that Dragapult protect. Sure, Primarina gets the Max Geyser off, but once again, you have the residual effect off now, and, you know, there's the Rillaboom waiting in the back, so I think Jiseok could have maybe capitalized off this game by actually going for a Dynamax on that Dragapult, launching a Max Phantasma immediately, sacrificing the Primarina, and getting a switch in into the Urshifu in the back for his end, because then the Urshifu puts on a lot of offensive pressure. The rain is not going to be up, actually, but you've got the, you know, Aqua Jet and the defense drop coming from the opposing end. So, yeah, I think Santino making a great prediction on this first turn, doesn't whiff an attack into the Dragapult, and now you can just put on so much offensive pressure with Rillaboom, and you can see the kind of the late game offense that Santino has with this team. It's not just about Colossal. Choice Band, Rillaboom, and Urshifu just do so much damage, and Jiseok, kindly enough, set up the rain for Santino as well.
Absolutely. The rain is going to be able to help out just a little bit here for both of these players, as Santino still has the Urshifu on the field as well as Jiseok's Primarina. But it's about these next couple of turns. Now that the Dynamax or the Gigantamax is gone from Santino's end, now Santino really has to capitalize on that G-Max Volcalyph damage that's coming through at the end of every single turn. So what Santino decides to do to follow that up here is going to be really important, as Jiseok goes for a defensive switch, bringing in Incineroar in front of these two physical attackers, both Rillaboom and Urshifu. Not totally going to want this.
Yeah, you know, Urshifu at least is able to manage to get critical hits around it, and with the Rillaboom, actually, because, you know, it has this Choice Band and with the terrain being up, Glide is still going to be a knockout onto the Primarina, but I think Jiseok making the only play that he really could by trying to pressure with Fake Out. But yeah, there's no reason for Santino not to go for Surging Strikes here. It's boosted by the rain, so it's going to do a ton of damage here. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I think the second one, it just might be a knockout. It is, and that's so huge because there's no fake out, right? Like, the whole idea behind switching Dragapult out there is so you get Incineroar, you get the Intimidate, and then you have fake out the next turn, so then at least you can maybe fake out the Rillaboom. But because the rain is up, Santino does not care about it. The Dragapult was not putting on very much offensive pressure there whatsoever, so free to just launch a Surging Strikes into that slot. One play that Jiseok actually maybe could have considered was switching the Primarina out into Incineroar. Then you still get the Intimidate off, and then the Dragapult can go for Dragon Darts, and that actually does a fair amount of damage, and I don't think the, the Surging Strikes is actually enough to pick up the KO onto the Dragapult. So that's pretty much a disastrous turn. Clefairy is in the back this time around, so at least there's some, redirection support. But Primarina has, protected last turn. I think from Santino's end, you can very safely go for a Glide into Primarina and a Surging Strikes into the Clefairy slot, because the Glide kind of covers, if Primarina tries to protect or switch out, well, Clefairy has to follow me, and there is a chance in which Clefairy goes for a protect here, so Santino going for exactly that. From Jiseok's end, I don't really even know what you can do. I mean, I think at best you can go for a follow me, just try to get a knockout with the Primarina, but it is looking very, very hard now after such an aggressive 2 turns again from Santino.
We're about to see another turn here as Grassy Glide is going to find its mark into the Clefairy that just used Follow Me on Jiseok's end, but Surging Strikes to follow that up from the Urshifu just might be enough to knock out this Clefairy. There's one hit that's going to be coming through, the second, and it looks like Clefairy is just in range of getting knocked out by the third and final blow from this Surging Strikes.
I just cannot express, like, Santino's game plan going into this set was so smart. I mean, he was willing to trade the Colossal on turn 1 just to get, a bunch of damage off, and then also get the Volcalith residual damage. And more importantly, the only way you can actually get that one-hit KO onto Colossal turn 1 is by going for, that Max Geyser. If you go for that Max Geyser, though, you set up the rain, and you can see how this the Urshifu has been fully able to capitalize off the range, just doing so much damage with all the Surging Strikes, able to get the critical hits as well. So it's just really, really impressive how Santino has played this. And yeah, once again, I think Jiseok going for the Protector, trying to counter the play Santino made in that first game, but Santino reads into that, goes for the Volcalith into La Primarina, and that, damage early on is just so difficult because afterwards you have to deal with all the residual damage, you're in KO range from a potential Grassy Glide, and Jiseok's Incineroar just, getting sacrificed immediately for a knockout makes this really, really difficult. He's basically had to play this as safely as possible, but what can you even do at this point, right? There is a Togekiss out, there's still Volcalith damage coming out as well, that'll knock out the Primarina, so you could pretty easily just, I think, go for a double protect, or even just go straight for damage here. Looks like Santino's content with that, knowing that Dragapult can't do anything against this Togekiss in the late game. And oh my goodness, I think we're about to crown a new champion.
I think we are about to crown a new champion, and with a Colossal, no less. But Jiseok is still putting up a valiant effort here as Togekiss is going to go for a Follow Me on Santino's end to try to allow this Urshifu to do its job. And with the Dragon Darts coming through, it's not even going to affect the Togekiss. So Urshifu safe to go for this Surging Strikes, and it's going to deal the last bit of damage to Primarina to secure the knockout. It's just Dragapult against the world, and with what Santino has on the field, it's going to be really, really difficult for Jiseok to get through this.
Yeah, and you actually get to see that unique interaction where if you use Follow Me, both Dragon Darts actually get redirected into Togekiss. Yeah. So Santino making a really safe play there, knowing, okay, you don't have any recovery with the Primarina. I think he, really could have also easily gone for a Protect with both Pokemon just to get that Rocks damage off as well. But pretty much, so many different ways that he can win this end game, and there's pretty much nothing Dragapult can do in this position. Dragapult really has no damage against Togekiss whatsoever. If it had something like a Steel Wing maybe, but even then I'm not sure that's a knockout. So all Santino needs to do now is just click a bunch of attacks, and I think we're going to see him be crowned the brand new Players' Cup champion.
Aqua Jet comes through, not super effective here. Dragapult's able to fire off yet another Dragon Darts, and it does just a little bit of damage to Urshifu. There's the second Dreepy to come out and play, but Air Slash now into the Dragapults. We're still around for one more turn, but with the damage that's coming through from the hail, and oh my goodness. I'm just on the edge of my seat, Aaron.
Yeah,
I think we're
Santino
close to
playing
crowning
this
a new
endgame.
champion.
Yeah, we are. I mean, Santino's been playing this smartly too, right? He's going for the Aqua Jet just in case Dragapult gets 2 critical hits in a row on Urshifu. You get that guaranteed damage. So, Jiseok's win condition here was maybe to get like a ton of critical hits back to back to back. By going for that Aqua Jet, you pretty much deny that as well. And now either a Surging Strikes or Air Slash will pick up the knockout. So, if Air Slash misses, maybe Jiseok still has a chance. But if Air Slash connects, that will be the game of the championship. Does it connect? Here it comes.
Goes through.
Oh,
Here
it does.
Dragapult's gonna get knocked out here, and Santino Tarquinio is your new Pokemon Players Cup VGC champion.
And talk about a full mix-up from what we saw in that winners finals too, and also just how Santino has played with this team. And I think this is why, you know, he was one of the scariest players to go up against in this finals. He has had so much experience with this team, and while, you know, he's played very methodically